Justice Decisions, Episode 11, Prediction 1742, Part 1, Take 1.
Darling? Where are we going for Easter?
Hadn't thought. Any ideas?
What about Corsica? It was such fun last time.
That was in September.
Easter's beautiful.
All right, Corsica. Coffee?
Coffee. How long can you get away for?
Oh, no problem there. 10 days, 2 weeks. The same hotel, I take it?
Oh, I think so. They were awfully nice.
I'll see to it on Monday.
Thank you. I'm glad that's settled.
I'm glad you're happy.
I do adore you.
Good God. Nancy, my wife. Don't look round.
I didn't. Has she seen us?
Not yet.
No, I'm not sitting there. No, it's far too cramped. So why can't we sit over there?
I'm sorry, milady, but that table's engaged. I've got a very nice table over there.
This is a bloody woman.
Oh, good gracious, that's far too near the kitchen. No, look, there was a lovely table over... My God, it's you and that trollop!
Nancy, please. Let's just leave. There's no point in a scene. Not in public.
Here she comes. It's all right, Maddy. I won't let her make a scene. Nancy?
I understood you were dining at your club tonight.
I can't imagine what gave you that idea.
Well, that was our understanding.
Your assumption,
We had a clear understanding.
which you have violated. I can only suggest, to avoid further embarrassment, you and your companion dine elsewhere.
Oh, do you indeed?
Nancy, I think perhaps
Shut
we should...
up. Do you intend leaving or not?
I most certainly do not. It would be obvious to any gentleman that in the circumstances the obligation was his.
I know you're an expert on the protocol of embarrassing situations. You've been in so many of them. However, as you can see, we have not yet finished our dinner, and do not propose to leave until we have. Therefore, you would oblige me by going quietly to hell. That was it, Miss Peterson, the final straw. I'm a tolerant man. I hope I'm not without a shred of human understanding. I've known about my wife's affairs for years, and she about mine.
But you chose to keep up appearances.
I dare say that's how it would appear to most people.
But to you?
We had an understanding. There was dignity in it, and decency.
You'll find that set out in detail in your instructions, Miss Peterson.
We rarely met each other in public, or in private. But when we did, we were civil. If I said I was staying at the club, she knew damn well I wasn't. And if she was staying away for a day or two, I knew it damn well it wasn't with an old school friend.
Lord Tilling, at what point exactly did this understanding between you and Lady Tilling come to an end?
When she allowed her indiscretions to become public. That restaurant. She knew perfectly well I'd reserved a table for myself and Miss Plunkett.
Lord Tilling, I'm afraid one embarrassing incident in public hardly constitutes unreasonable behavior.
Oh, there's more, Miss Peterson. Much more.
What's amusing you?
This stuff. You know, him in there.
Him?
Lord Tilling. I wish I'd been there, that restaurant.
You get on with what you're supposed to be doing.
What a carry-on, though. Don't you think it's marvellous, not caring what people think? I mean, just doing it. That's what I call real style.
Work, Rosie.
Remember, I draw the line at the time, Alice. A flat I'll provide, but if she thinks she's getting her hands on training wolf,
I'm
she
sure
can
Miss
think again.
Peterson appreciates your feelings, Lord Tilling, and Mr. Elliot.
You've no children. A flat should be enough.
I'll leave it with you then.
Goodbye, Miss Peterson. I'll be in touch.
Quite.
Unbelievable, isn't it? After 20 years of happy infidelity, they suddenly want to throw the book at each other.
Disapproval, James, again?
No, I don't care what they do. Or even if they do it in the street and frighten the horses to death.
Well, legally, they've as much right to go after a divorce as anyone else.
It's a new game, that's all it is to them. And because they've money to burn, we have to help them play it.
Have they money to burn? I wonder.
Sorry to disturb you, Miss Peterson, but Mr. Ronce is in the waiting room. He'd like a word if it's convenient.
In the waiting room? He's supposed to be in Miami. Show him in, don't you?
This is where I came in.
Don't you want to say hello to him, James?
No.
Come in. You said you were stopping off in Miami.
I changed my mind.
Why?
May I?
Yes, of course.
I wanted to deliver this in person.
Beautiful. I can't accept this any more than I could accept your previous offering.
Yes, you can. It's just a small gift for becoming a QC.
You heard?
Of course I heard.
Yes, of course.
I'm sorry, Miss Peterson, but have you signed the letters yet? It's just that Rose is waiting to post them.
I'll bring them out to you, Bill. Excuse me, this won't take a minute.
Harriet, would you accept it if you were my wife?
It's a purely hypothetical question. I'm not...
Will you marry me?
You can't just walk in here and ask me to marry you.
Why not?
I should have thought that was obvious.
Oh, not to me, it isn't.
Do I strike you as the kind of woman who would rush into marriage, even with a multi-millionaire?
Well, I'm not asking for an answer right away. Just think about it, that's all.
What else do I have to do? Come in. Oh, hell. How do I obtain an authorization from the Bank of England? What? No chance, Monty. No, come on, see. Yes, all right, yes. Yes, right, I will do that. Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye. There you are, William. All beautifully signed and not a blot in sight.
Mr. Elliot, a slight problem has arisen, and I'd like your advice.
Well, you have come to the right man. Advising others is what I'm paid for. But who advises me?
Come again?
Oh, never mind. What do you want?
Dr. Moody has arrived to collect Miss Peterson.
Then let him collect Miss Peterson.
She still has Mr. Ronce with her.
Oh, has she? Then you must allow me the privilege of taking the gallant doctor to our leader.
But are you sure? I mean, we don't want to upset Miss Peterson, do we?
Hello, Ian.
Hello, James.
You waiting to see Harriet?
Yes, I am.
I'm just going in. Why don't you come with me?
Sure.
Oh, by the way, she has Frank Ronce with her. No, don't worry. I shall get rid of him. Leave it all to me. Harriet, Ian's arrived to take you out to dinner. Oh, good evening, Mr. Ronce. How's your daughter?
Still in Holloway Prison, Mr. Elliot. Ian?
You have transport, haven't you, Ian? Can I get you a taxi, Mr. Ronce?
I have my car waiting.
Ah, you going anywhere near Holborn?
Why?
I thought you might be able to drop me.
I'm not. Perhaps you and Ian would like to have dinner with me.
Oh, what a pity. I think Ian's already booked a table, haven't you, Ian?
Right? Oh, yes, I have, actually.
Then perhaps Mr. Ronce would like to join us.
I'd be delighted.
I have to go home first and change.
May I pick you up?
Thank you. We'll be at my flat.
8 o'clock?
8 o'clock.
Ian? Mr. Elliot?
Mr. Ronce?
What went wrong?
Sabotage, over there.
What on earth made you ask him to dinner? You know I can't stand the man.
The pair of you shouldn't have ganged up on him. Can I get you a taxi? Will you drop me? Ian's already booked a table. The pair of you behave like a couple of overgrown undergraduates.
Well, I don't trust him.
No one does except Harriet.
I happen to like him.
There's no accounting for taste.
Hardly be rude to the man, could I?
Why not? We were.
Ah, but he didn't propose to you, did he?
You asked for copies of Lord Tilling's petition and of his wife's cross petition.
Thank you. Oh, by the way, I have finished with that.
Oh, is this the interim maintenance one?
Yes.
Sunday papers are going to have a field day when this case is open.
Do you know, my grandfather used to read the Bible every Sunday, all day.
Sounds like a remarkable man, sir.
He was caretaker in a church school.
Oh.
Took his responsibilities very seriously. Do we know who's appearing for Lady Tilling?
Mr. Gurston, I believe.
Honest Doris? Poor old devil. Do you think he knows what he's let himself in for? It's the sort of case that makes me wonder what I'm doing at the bar.
Earning a great deal of money, gaining yourself a fine reputation, and paying for my extension into the bargain.
Your what, William?
My extension. I've got the builders in. They're going to knock down the kitchen wall and construct a patio in York stone.
William.
So that of an evening, the wife and I can sit out there
William,
looking over the hog's back.
Is that the point, William, of all of this? Your extension?
Sir?
It's not enough, William. Not for me. There is a world out there. I keep thinking of blue skies and faraway places, and the only bar in sight you lean on.
You need a holiday, sir.
I was thinking more in terms of retirement.
You can't be serious.
Whatever makes you think that. It is 6 o'clock. It is Friday. My weekend has begun. So I shall bid you farewell, William. And I will see you on Monday.
Yeah, sir, just a moment. Have you talked to Miss Peterson about this?
Miss Peterson, I think, has problems of her own.
You don't really expect me to take no for an answer, do you?
If that's the answer I give.
And is it? Harriet, I'm not simply trying to prove that I'm a man of decision. I am, of course. But decisions are one thing. Most decisions only become right after they've been taken, and people's lives depend on making the right ones. But this is a matter of judgment. And my judgment tells me that you are the woman I should marry.
Does it also tell you I would enjoy the experience?
It tells me that we would be very happy. Thank you.
I'm as much in the habit of trusting my own judgment as you are.
And?
I know as much about you as I do about Paul Getty or Howard Hughes or any other tycoon who makes good copy for the press. Beyond that, you're a total stranger. And whatever you think you know about me, I am virtually a stranger to you. So why?
Well, there aren't many men that I respect, even fewer women. You're one of them. It's a new experience for me, Harriet.
Very flattering. But more reflection on the women you've known than anything else.
So you are questioning my judgment?
Yes.
That's what I mean. A new experience.
Oh, not really. You regard women as a source of novelty. You're used to seeing something you want and reaching out for it. That's how you're treating me. I've no ambition to be counted amongst your trophies.
Harriet, have you been listening to a word I've said?
I've been listening very carefully. I've heard a proposal of marriage from a man I barely know and who barely knows me. So I ask myself, why? What's the reason?
12 reasons. 100. How many do you want?
One good one.
You want me to tell you that I'm in love with you?
It would have been a better start than my judgment tells me you're the woman I should marry.
Is it because of Ian Moody? Is that what all this is about?
You see how little you know me? It's not Ian Moody you have to contend with. It's me. What happened on the 18th?
I went upstairs and found my wife in a compromising position with Sir Charles Tangmere.
The question of adultery isn't mentioned in any of the pleadings.
With respect, my lord, the petitioner does not consider adultery took place.
Then what is the point at issue?
Lord Tilling considers his wife's action constitutes unreasonable behaviour.
Was she in a state of undress?
She was wearing a wig, my lord.
And Sir Charles?
He has never worn a wig.
Proceed, Miss Peterson.
Were there any witnesses?
8 of my guests, and what's more, they intend to testify.
What? All 8 of them?
Yes, I insisted.
What happened when you and your 8 guests entered the bedroom?
Tangmere said, "Hello, what's this? A bloody coach party."
Can you remember how you felt at the time?
I was shocked and outraged.
Yes, I'm sure you were, but what did you do?
What any reasonable man would have done in the circumstances. Carried on as though nothing had happened.
Let us now turn to the 14th of May, 1971.
Was that the bonfire? Yes, it was. My wife collected my suits, threw them out of the window onto the terrace, saturated them in brandy, and set fire to them.
Were there any witnesses to this incident?
20 of my guests saw her do it.
You don't intend to call all 20, do you?
My counsel decided 4 would suffice.
Thank you, Miss Peterson.
Do you know why your wife set fire to your suits?
She said it was because I'd forgotten our wedding anniversary.
I should now like to come to the 4th of September, 1971.
Was that when she locked me in the gun cupboard?
No, that was March the 17th, 1972.
Ah, then it was when we were staying at Ralph Sprosting's house, am I right?
Yes.
My wife threw me into the swimming pool.
How could she have thrown you into the swimming pool?
She deliberately tripped me up. I stumbled, and she pushed me in. What's more, she bent over the pool and shouted, "Drown, damn you, drown."
Drown, damn you, drown.
And she meant it. I can't swim, you see.
Ah. Did your wife know that you couldn't swim?
Of course she knew it. We haven't been married 20 years for nothing, my lord.
Now we come to March the 17th, 1972.
Ah, that was when she locked me in the gun cupboard.
What cupboard?
The cupboard where I keep my guns, my lord.
Why did she lock you in?
She said it was because I refused to have her parents in the house.
And had you?
I most certainly had. Every time her father appeared, he vanished again with half a dozen bottles of my best claret.
Without your permission?
He never even asked.
Who released you from the gun cupboard?
My butler.
And how long had you been a prisoner?
About 5 hours.
We now come to the 12th of August, 1972.
Ah, yes, that was when she took a shot at me from an upstairs window with a 12-bore.
Ian, where did you spend the weekend?
I thought I told you.
Wales, that was all you said.
Yes, that's right, Wales. There's no secret about it.
I'm not suggesting there is.
Where did you have dinner with Ronce?
At the Hilton.
Oh. There's a story in here, it's quite extraordinary, about a chemist, an industrial chemist who breeds parrots in his spare time and exports them to Zaire.
Do you mind? I'm trying to finish this letter.
Sorry, just trying to brighten up your evening.
I brought Lord Tilling up. I was nanny to his lordship right through his childhood.
And what position do you hold in the household now?
Nanny?
To whom?
I look after his lordship. And her ladyship, of course. But if I hadn't been devoted to his lordship, I would have given my notice in long since.
Why?
Her ladyship is not, in my opinion, the proper person to occupy the place in society that she does.
Would you care to elaborate on that?
Her attitudes to his lordship himself and to the staff.
To what did you object in her attitudes?
She expected me to be a party to those various goings-on of hers.
Goings-on, Miss Campton?
Well, you know what I mean.
Yes, indeed I do, but the court does not, so would you please tell the court, Miss Campton?
I shall certainly not speak of them in public. I couldn't bring myself to.
Them, Miss Campton?
goings-on.
Was there any one particular going-on that outraged you?
It was the whole thing.
Could you be more specific, please?
Her ladyship had no concern for the feelings of the staff. It never crossed her mind that some of us might feel loyalty to his lordship. The minute he was off with one of his... well, she seemed to think that she could do exactly as she liked. Drinking parties, rowdyisms, and some of the language that those friends of hers used. And in front of her, too.
You wanted a word, Miss Peterson?
Yes, Bill, sit down. I've just heard something concerning Mr. Elliot from one of the partners at Wilson Perry's.
Oh.
I see it's no surprise to you.
No, Miss Peterson.
As head of chambers, I think I might be informed before the rest of the profession if someone is thinking of leaving.
Well, with respect, Miss Peterson, I think you'll find that the whole thing's been blown up out of all proportion.
Has he talked to you about it?
Well, yes, in a way.
Is he seriously thinking of giving up the bar?
Well, I think he's discussed it with a couple of friends, but as you know, if you want to keep a secret, don't tell a lawyer. Well, as a matter of fact, I did suggest that he should discuss the whole thing with you, but I think he doesn't want to bother you with it until and unless he has come to some sort of decision.
What do you think's behind it?
I think he's restless.
He's always restless. We all get restless from time to time, but we don't all make plans to pack up and go.
Nurse Blake, you attended Lord Tilling when he had the measles.
Yes.
Was he very ill?
Well, not all that ill, no.
Was he confined to his bed?
Oh, yes. I was very depressed. Well, at first, that is.
Why?
Lady Tilling wouldn't allow many visitors.
You heard her say that?
She told me so. She said no one was to enter the room and that trays of food were to be left outside the door for me to collect. She said I was to wear a clinical gauze mask whenever I came out of the room. And I wasn't to remove it until I was outside the main gate.
Are you saying that during the period you were in the house, no one, not even Lady Tilling, visited her husband?
No one. Oh, only me.
Did she inquire about his health?
Oh, no. Well, she refused to see me. If we met on the stairs, she looked the other way.
Why was that?
Well, she said she didn't want to get measles.
But you were wearing a mask.
Yes. Oh, so was she.
Lady Tilling was wearing a mask?
Oh, yes. She insisted everyone wore one.
The entire staff?
Yes.
And what was your attitude to that?
Well, I thought it was ridiculous.
Passengers for BD 064 to Teesside who have already checked in. Dinner on the coach at gate 15.
There you go. And they went mad and bought you a donut as well. I thought that was overdoing it.
Oh, you mustn't spoil me.
No chance.
I know I'm dragging you away from something important.
No, not really. Oh, damn. Forgotten the sugar.
No matter. I've got some in my handbag.
No cream?
I'm on a diet.
Thank you. You know, actually, your phone call came as a blessed relief. I've been stuck in court for the past 2 days listening to the biggest load of trivial, inconsequential rubbish that I've ever heard. I needed to talk to you. Someone sane. Someone who didn't know the difference between an order 14 and an order for lunch.
And I needed to see you.
It's a hell of a relationship.
Love in transit.
Sure, that's been done.
James, I haven't got long.
You know, a friend of mine went out with
James.
an airline hostess once.
I must talk to you.
Yes, and she told him that the airline staff had a thing called the Mile High Club, you see, and you became a member when you got it together. It was
For
only
Christ's sake, shut up.
Hey, listen, just stay cool.
Stay cool. That's the story of your life, isn't it? I mention the word love and you go into a gag routine. Always the quick answer. The flip, slick, smart Mr. Elliot, always ahead of the game.
Just a minute, my lovely.
That's all I've got, isn't it? A minute. You make damn sure that's all we've ever got, minutes. Airports, stations, taxi cabs at 6 in the morning. Blessed relief. Just about sums me up.
Will you slow down?
No, for once in your lifetime, no, I haven't got the time.
I get the impression you're trying to tell me something.
No, you tell me.
All right, what's my start of a 10?
Why are you so terrified of being loved?
Ah, well, you see, when I was a little boy, I had a
James,
very...
stop it. Just this once.
For heaven's sake, I I didn't come here to have this kind of conversation. It's not the right time.
It's last chance time.
It's big surprise time, as far as I'm concerned.
Just give me a straight answer.
That goes against the professional grain, my love.
Don't call me that, and don't do any numbers. Just tell me.
I think I am feeling harassed. You ought to be in my game.
Do you love me? Well?
Just like that?
Yes. Yes?
I love me most.
Oh, I know that. Everybody knows that. That wasn't what I asked you.
You are unbelievable.
Just answer the question.
I can't sit here in the middle of a
Listen, Mr. Elliot, and this is the last speech I'm ever going to make to you. Last summer was special. Not just for me, but for both of us. And it wasn't one of those things about soft guitars and Mediterranean nights. It was important. And it's still important. I love you, and you know it, and I've waited as long as I'm going to wait. But you're not 25 anymore, James. You're 35, and you're wasting our time. Now tell me. Tell me.
Yes.
Say it.
I love you.
You're so romantic.
Must be out of my mind.
Oh, are you pleading insanity?
I'm unfit to plead.
It's not the most flattering thing I've ever heard.
But the most honest.
Men have fought for my favours.
I know. I have fallen over the corpses.
Oh, beautiful James, don't be frightened. I'm not going to ask you to propose to me.
Well, what the hell was all this about?
I just wanted you to know that you were in love with me. That's all.
Well, thank you very much.
Proposing is your business.
That's a comforting thought.
Just don't leave it too long. I must go. Again.
I'll walk with you.
When you know where I'll be waiting.
Yes, but I can't just drop everything. I told you last time.
I know. But last time you didn't say you loved me. I love you, James. You know where to find me.
Yes, of course I gave parties when my husband was away. He knew all about them. Some of the guests were among his best friends.
How was your husband informed of these parties?
I told him.
Lady Tilling, when your husband was suffering from the measles, it has been stated that you refused to nurse him.
He preferred professional attention. And I'd say he got it.
Mr. Gurston, would you remind your client that this is a court of law and not a music hall?
I'm very sorry, my lord. Lady Tilling, it has been said that on 3 occasions you were found in bed with men other than your husband.
That's right, yes. There's no secret about it. There never has been. Nor has my husband's behaviour been a secret. Far from it. No, we've both been quite open about our lives. It's been going on for years. You see, what I find so extraordinary is this sudden outburst of retrospective indignation.
Lady Tilling, do you admit locking your husband in the gun cupboard?
Certainly. I was very angry. And frightened.
Why?
Well, I'd gone to tell him that my parents were coming down for the weekend, and he completely ignored me. He was messing about with his gun. I told him that they would be arriving at about 7, and then he said that he wouldn't have them in the house. And when I asked why, he said it was because my father was stealing his claret.
And was he?
Well, certainly not.
Ha!
Anyway, he wouldn't listen to me. He said if they came anywhere near, he would shoot them and me.
Did you believe him?
Well, I didn't stop to consider it, my lord. He was red in the face and shouting at me and waving his gun about, and I was terrified. I just pushed the door to and ran.
Quite. Mr. Gurston?
Lady Tilling, your husband has previously stated that he was locked in the gun cupboard for about 5 hours. Is that true?
Absolute nonsense. I told the butler where he was, and he let him out straight away.
Lady Tilling, did you ever fire a gun at your husband?
Well, only to scare him, not to hit him. I mean, I've never actually hit anything in my life. I'm a terrible shot.
Yes, she's available. Yes, so is he. Yeah, if you wouldn't mind. Fine, fine. Hello? No, I'm afraid Mr. Elliot is still in court. Can I get him to ring you? Estate agents? Yeah, well, is that urgent? Well, what property would that be? Hello? Hello? Now, what would he want with an estate agent?
Lady Tilling, you have not denied firing a shot at your husband from the bedroom window. Very well, not at your husband. You simply wish to scare him.
Only because he'd turned the dogs loose the night before.
The dogs?
On some friends of mine.
Lady Tilling, why did your husband turn the dogs loose on your friends?
Well, as I said, he didn't usually give a hoot about what we got up to. But on this occasion, I think the Black Mass had upset him.
Black Mass?
In the private chapel on the estate, my lord. Well, it was only a joke. I mean, one's got to find something to do after dinner, hasn't one? I mean, nobody expected the devil to appear or anything like that. Hugh appeared instead, with the dogs, and a lot of very uncalled for remarks.
He must make his mind up. It's not fair on her.
Or your builder.
What was that?
I was agreeing with you. People like to know where they stand.
Oh, good afternoon, Miss Peterson. Mr. Elliot. Sir, I've had another call from your estate agent about selling your London flat.
Come in, James.
Thank you, William.
Time to talk.
Yes, I suppose it is.
Are you really giving it up? I can't believe it. You've worked hard, James. You're only 35 and you're one of the best young barristers in practice.
Well, somehow that's not really the point.
Then what is?
I wish I knew exactly. It will make it so much easier to explain.
I refuse to believe you don't know what you're doing.
Oh, I know what I'm doing. I just don't know if what I'm doing is the right thing.
You're stale. You need a holiday.
That was what Bill said, but it's not just staleness. It's that big, fat question that keeps coming back.
What's the point of it all?
That's the one.
There aren't any simple answers.
I know.
Giving it all up may not be the answer either.
Well, I don't have to give it all up, do I? I mean, not forever. I can always come back.
Of course. What do you want, James? Do you know?
Oh, well, that's the other big, fat question. There aren't any simple answers to that either.
What's wrong with the law? Apart from everything.
Well, apart from everything, nothing. It's what I've trained for. It's what I've thought about. It's what my father wanted. It's my life. I don't know. It's just that at the back of my mind, I've always had this sneaky feeling. Oh, it sounds daft.
You want to write that book?
Silly, isn't it?
Not silly. Brave, perhaps.
To run away.
To take the chance.
It doesn't feel brave.
Do it, James. If you don't, you'll spend the rest of your life regretting it. No ties, no responsibilities, there's nothing to stop you. You go and sit on your desert island and write. But make sure it isn't supplied with brown-skinned maidens, or you'll never get beyond chapter 1.
You were combing her ladyship's hair, you say, when Lord Tilling burst in and accused you of stealing his gold watch.
I didn't steal it. I simply returned it to her ladyship. After all, it was hers.
But she had given it to her husband, had she not?
Yes, as a token of her affection. But as he'd destroyed that affection, she was quite within her rights to take the watch back.
Were you present when she subsequently gave the watch to Viscount Sumley?
Yes,
And where did this presentation take place?
in the sauna bath.
What were they doing in the sauna bath?
Having a sauna.
Were you also having a sauna?
Several of us were. It's a very big sauna bath, my lord.
No further questions.
I grant a decree nisi to the petitioner on the prayer of his petition on the grounds set out in section 1(2)(b) of the Matrimonial Causes Act of 1973, and to the respondent on the cross prayer of her answer on the same grounds. Each party will pay their own costs.
Are you sure you won't have a drink?
Quite sure, thank you. I only stopped by for a moment.
Why?
Well, I was passing, and I thought I'd drop in and say hello.
A busy man like you doesn't drop in to say hello just because he happens to be passing.
Really? I must remember that. Could save me a lot of time.
You still haven't told me why.
Well, what with us having a little unfinished business left over from our last meeting, I thought that if you had the time...
I'm not aware we have any unfinished business. I gave you my decision, which was final.
Harriet, I am not here to ask you to marry me. Now, before you make any decisions, we should get acquainted a little better. You should take some time off, Harriet. Take a holiday. Relax. Now, my yacht is in the south of France. I'm flying down next week with a few friends. Would you like to join me?
No, thank you.
It is Ian Moody, isn't it? Monday evening, yesterday, he practically lives here.
Still spying on me?
Spying? Oh, come on, Harriet. It's my business to know what's going on around me amongst people who interest me.
Well, from now on, you can make it your business to stay out of my life. Is that clear?
Clear as crystal. Believe me, I'm very sorry you wouldn't change your mind.
Are you threatening me?
Just give my regards to Ian Moody.
Hello, Ian? Damned answering machine. Who is it?
It's me.
Ian.
What the devil's going on?
Just a moment.
You been hiding from an angry client or something?
Frank Ronce was here.
Ronce?
Didn't you see him on the way up?
No, the lift was occupied. I came up the stairs.
Well, aren't you coming in?
What did he want?
He invited me to join him on his yacht in the south of France.
You do that and it's all over. You and me. Finished.
Are you serious?
I've never been more so.
You're telling me not to go?
It's not as simple as that, Harriet. We're drifting. That's no basis for a relationship. Sooner or later, it has to be resolved. Ronce is just a symptom. You're waving him in front of me like a tired old carrot, and frankly, I'm bored with it. So it's up to you. When you've made up your mind, let me know.
Ian!
Am I disturbing you?
You're always disturbing me.
I just wanted to say thank you. A sincere and humble thank you.
What now?
For that masterly demonstration of courtroom expertise yesterday. The magic of that golden oratory. The
Have
finesse.
you quite finished?
I shall never forget the moment when you rose in your pew, the sunshine bouncing from your wing.
I shall throw something at you in a minute.
You busy tonight?
I shall be if I don't get on with this.
There you are, you see, that's the point. All work, no play, not good for you. You need a change. You need a night on the town. Let your hair down, unfasten your stays.
Are you inviting me to dinner?
How'd you guess?
I haven't the faintest idea.
Yes?
You're not taking me to one of those noisy discotheques where you can't hear yourself scream.
Certainly not. I shall be the soul of good taste. Something simple, quiet, refined.
How will you stand it?
Mind over matter. Oh, by the way, nothing too formal. Just a simple black dress.
And what shall I wear?
No further comment. About 7.
Oh, the sneaky, treacherous, deceitful.
Who's she talking about?
Still me.
You sure?
Positive.
You're just as bad.
There you are.
Brought here under false pretenses. Complicity.
I didn't know you were coming. I thought it was going to be a night out for the chaps, a quiet meal, possibly a brief visit to a select gaming establishment, a little sober, erudite conversation.
Bingo and bunny girls.
I resent that.
You shut up.
Certainly.
You've caused enough trouble.
I'm only trying to help.
Help?
I believe him.
You shut up, too.
Of course.
You've been at it again, the pair of you.
Have you been at?
Certainly not.
Ganging up, first against Frank Ronce, now against me.
Oh, God, do you have to mention that?
This is where I came in.
I don't know why you are so extraordinarily sensitive about him.
Extraordinarily sensitive? Do you call it extraordinarily
I
sensitive?
say.
That is precisely what I call it. You have been behaving
I
like
say! You don't both put a sock in it instantly, I shall take off all my clothes and dance naked upon the table.
The temptation is overwhelming.
Don't risk him.
Do you mind if we don't eat here again?
If James takes all his clothes off, no one will eat here again.
Opinion.
Fair comment.
Haven't even started yet.
Good Lord. Your thunder has been stolen, James.
Thank God for that. My little gesture might have received rather more coverage or uncoverage than it merited. Do you know who that is with the noble lord and his lady?
Yes, Roger Greenfield, isn't it?
Who's Roger Greenfield?
Editor of the Sunday World. Now, what do you think he might pay for the inside story on that marriage?
With compliments of the house.
Oh, lovely. Well, here's to $1 million.
Million?
I think Mr. Greenfield is referring to his circulation figures, my dear, not to our share of profits, which will amount to a more modest sum.
Modest, Lord Tilling. No paper has ever paid so much for exclusive serial rights.
Ah, but then there's never been quite such an exclusive cereal before, has there?
Well, cheers. Now, what's the first episode to be?
I really hadn't given it a thought, have you, dear?
We could begin almost anywhere, I should have thought.
Oh, why not tell it exactly how it happened?
I don't think that would be wise.
How you met each other on the steps of the divorce court and realized that you couldn't live without each other. Love and hate, all the same thing, says Lord Tilling. Now, leave it to me. I'll find a first-class ghostwriter.
Oh, I was rather hoping to have a shot at it myself.
I'm just giving you the figures. That's 3 days in court. That's all they had. I know it seemed like an eternity, but it was only 3 days. Now, that can't have cost them more than the odd $1,000. Compared to what their newfound notoriety, starting with Greenfield, is worth to them, well, that's peanuts.
Put up, John.
Wow. Oh, my God, Greenfield Seamy's coming over.
Friend of yours?
He's an acquaintance, Harriet, nothing more, upon my honor. Roger!
James, how very
Yes.
good to see you. And Miss Peterson, isn't it?
It is.
I'm very pleased to meet you, Miss Peterson.
Dr. Moody, this is Roger Greenfield.
Doctor. You know who I'm with?
We had noticed, yes.
Well, they've changed their minds. They're not going to go through with the divorce absolute. They've decided to stay married. But of course you knew that.
No, we didn't know, but we were beginning to wonder.
Look, I've got a wonderful idea. Why don't you all join us?
Well, we have just ordered, actually.
No, please, James, be my guests. I'll get the photographer over. Be a very good picture. Leading counsel are the first to congratulate Lord and Lady Tilling on their decision.
Thank you, Mr. Greenfield. It's very kind of you, but no.
We have things to discuss, actually, sir.
I wouldn't want to intrude.
Oh, Mr. Greenfield, excuse me. There's a telephone call for you from your office.
Thank you, George. Well, see you again soon,
Yes,
James.
yes, indeed.
Miss Peterson, Doctor.
Oh, glad you said he's only an acquaintance.
Yes. He's also one of Frank Ronce's men. Oh, yes. A Sunday World. Frank Ronce bought a controlling interest in the newspaper over a year ago. They'd been publishing stories about him that he didn't like, so he took them over. Oh, very discreetly, of course, behind lawyers and frontmen. And he gradually replaced everyone who'd offended him, starting with the editor.
Yes, Harry, what is it? I'll put him on. Good evening, sir.
Call the boys off, Greenfield.
Well, I've just met the lady, sir. She's dining here with a Dr. Moody.
I am no longer interested in keeping Miss Peterson under surveillance. Her behavior patterns are beginning to bore me.
I'm almost sorry the case is over, you know. I quite enjoyed it, didn't you?
I thought Nanny was very good. But then one could always count on Nanny.
It's got a bit dangerous with that nurse, you know. I don't think she was taking it seriously.
Silly girl. I always thought so.
Lovely legs.
No, really, I didn't notice.
Oh. I like my bit about the Black Mass. I enjoyed that.
I thought you went a touch far there.
Oh, well, it worked, and that's what matters.
Oh, it certainly worked. With what we'll get for the story and the boost to the coach trade. Oh, did I tell you I had an inquiry from an American travel agency that would like us to consider house guests?
Ooh.
Curious way some people spend their holidays.
Oh, darling, it could be fun.
Chacun a son goût. Still, figures very tempting. That could mean we'll clear a good 30,000 by the end of the year, probably more.
Darling, you are a very, very clever man.
I couldn't have done it without you.
If you'll excuse me for a moment, there is someone I simply must talk to. I'll see you very soon. Ah.
Well, he's all right.
Yes.
And they're all right.
Yes.
Which leaves us.
Yes. Just how big a fool do you think I am? I'd already sent him packing. Just didn't like being told to.
Hello? Well, yes, I think he's available. Just a moment, I better check.
Bill?
Yeah.
Mr. Elliot in yet?
Well, I think so, Miss Peterson. It's hard to say. He's been in and out all day.
I'll have a look. I must have a word with him.
I'll have to call you back. I'm afraid he's engaged at the moment.
Busy, James?
Oh, yes. I was terribly busy. Up to me, isn't it?
So it would seem.
Merely a pause for thought. Profound thought.
A lot of that going on lately.
Quite a bit.
Can you spare me a moment?
Just a moment, you understand. Terribly busy.
Thank you, James.
Now then, Peterson.
When are you leaving?
You're trying to get rid of me?
Desperately. When?
Well, I hadn't actually thought.
You haven't been doing anything else.
No, I meant I hadn't actually thought when I was leaving.
Well, think about it now.
Well, I can't just drop everything and toddle off, can I?
Why not?
Well, there's all that dates in William's diary and this stuff I've been working on.
Carter can take over. He's done it before.
You really are trying to get rid. How can you send me out into that cruel world, unprepared, scarce made up?
James, I don't want you to go. You said you wanted to.
Yes, I did, didn't I?
Yes. And for my sake and for Bill's, you must sort yourself out, and then we'll all know what we're doing.
Do you really think Carter could take over?
Yes.
My God, I'm dispensable.
We all are.
Some more than others.
You must have a great deal to arrange. Your flat, the cottage, packing, money, currency, visas.
I don't think I'll bother.
If you don't do it now, you'll just go on messing about indefinitely.
I don't like the way you said now.
What's wrong with now?
It's a bit sudden.
The best way. Come on.
Where are we going?
You are going. You are going to take Bill out to lunch and break the bad news. Then you're going to pack up and say your goodbyes. Not forgetting to buy Rosie a large box of chocolates. On second thoughts, make that a large bunch of flowers. Then you're going to put your nose round my door and say goodbye to me. Understood?
I shall miss you.
I should hope so.
Even though you are so bossy.
It's what you need.
Absolutely. Think I'm mad?
Absolutely. I shall miss you, James. We all will. Bill, most of all, he'll never be able to pay for a swimming pool without you. Now, come on before one of us bursts into tears.
It'll probably be me.
Bill?
Yes, Miss Peterson?
Mr. Elliot is going to take you out and buy you a very expensive lunch. He has something to tell you.
Well, lunch, anyway.
And while you're celebrating, don't forget to eat.
Come along, William, before the sandwiches get cold.
Well, I can't, sir. I'm waiting
now,
on a
William,
very important
instantly,
telephone, sir.
William, now.
Yes, sir.
I'll see you later, light of my life. Now, if I'm sober enough to get your door open, I stick my nose round it and say the magic word, right?
Right.
Lead on, William. Before your shocked gaze beholds one barrister kissing another barrister in chambers.
Rosie, bring your pad and pencil, will you? There's work to be done.
Yes, Miss Peterson.